Hey everybody, welcome back to Harmon Garage. If you're new, welcome. First thing I want to do today is talk a little bit. I like to set goals for the channel to reach so that I got motivation to keep pushing. And my goal that I have now is to reach 5,000 subscribers. So we're right around 1230 or something like that. And my next step, I want to get to 5,000. So if I get to 5,000, when I get to 5,000, I'm going to do another giveaway, a merch giveaway. And I'll have more details on what the giveaway items are going to be when we get closer to 5,000. But if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And then you'll have a chance to win the giveaway when we get to 5,000. So with that being said, we're going to start on today's project, and we're going to get back on Project Dirty. I got a few small things in the engine compartment to finish up, but nothing big. And we're going to put the front end on it and try to get the interior dressed up. We'll see how it's going and how much I can get done before it makes too long of a video. So I've got the hood hinges, the horns, and the headlights. Those headlights are all old and yellow and bad, so we're going to be replacing those. But I'm going to clean up and paint the buckets. I'm going to clean up the horns and clean up and paint the horn brackets and clean up and paint the hood hinges. And then we'll get I got all new headlight adjusters, and we've got good springs. So I'm going to get all that cleaned up, and then we'll assemble that, and then we'll move on to the interior. I've had the carpet laid out in here for 4 or 5 days now, so hopefully it's kind of laid out and found its groove. So we can get that put in, and then we got to throw in the seat and the dash pad, clean up a little bit, and that's about as far as we're going to go with the interior. So, and with all that stuff, with the exception of cleaning up the outside, which will be another video, we'll pretty much be done with this. So hopefully we can get a lot of work done today, and this is going to be the second to last video on Project Dirty. I'd really like to get it done and move on to something else. So sit back, relax, and let's get going. All right, just a little update. I got all my parts cleaned up and painted. They're here drying in the paint booth. I got spark plug wires tied up, my throttle cable hooked up. For some reason, when you use these brackets on the Edelbrock carbs, the throttle cable's always too long. So I made my own little tab that bolts on here to extend that. Had all the vacuum lines done, got a few wiring connections that I hadn't quite finished yet done. Got my spark plug wires all tied up. Pretty much everything under the hood's wrapped up. So we can start putting the front end together, slapping the interior together, and then roll her out. So let's get started putting the front end together. So this is what our grille and headlight doors look like right now. The original color's fading off of them and ripping off and all that kind of stuff. Algae growing on it. Dirty, but it's in pretty good shape. And I hadn't discussed doing anything with this with the owners of the truck, but I'm gonna go ahead and surprise them and do a restore on this stuff too. So I just wanted to show you guys a little before. I'm gonna go ahead and do my thing to them, and then I'll show you what they look like when we get done. All right, well, I ended up doing more than I was planning on, but it's gonna pay off. It looks really good. So we're finally ready to put the front end together. The horns are nice and clean and painted. The headlight buckets are nice and clean and painted, almost look brand new. All this is nice. I cleaned up our trim a little bit so it looks better. Got new bulbs for our parking lights. Got all new headlights. Polished up the rings that hold the bulbs in. And then I'm really happy with the way this turned out. Cleaned up, painted and polished everything for the front grille and headlight doors. I think it turned out awesome. I can't wait to see it on the truck. So with that being said, we're going to put it on. Got my headlight adjusters here. The first thing we're going to put in. I always start screwing it in before I put it in. This makes it a little bit easier. And then if you have access to the backside, or right through here, the easiest way to do it is come in from the backside. And just pop it in. They're pretty brittle, so you want to be careful with them because you don't want to break them. I don't want them like all the way out, but I don't want them screwed in too far either. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in about halfway probably. And you'll have to adjust them when you put the buckets in. And then again when you're all done. So, one thing real quick with these adjusters. There's tons and tons of different ones out there on the market. There's a company called Avico. It's like AU-VE-CO or something. I don't know. I don't remember how exactly it's spelled. But in my opinion, in my trials, Avico's had the best quality headlight adjusters for these C10 square body trucks that I've ever used. I've used all the Dorman ones, the off-the-shelf ones, from all the stores, everything, and half the time they break while you're putting them on, or they just don't work, or whatever. But these Avico ones, I've had the best luck with. They work out really good. So when you go to put your headlight buckets back in, you got to pay attention because there's right and left, and your adjusters are going to go on the top and the side, and then you have this spring that hooks down here in the corner. So the way I do it is I put my spring in first. And this isn't the easiest part of this deal, that's for sure. And then once you get your spring in, you gotta kind of fight against your spring and get it in your adjusters. These adjusters go in really tight, but that's on purpose because you want it to be locked in there. You want to make sure that you get it in the grooves. I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so on these adjuster bolts, you got the head of the screw, and then there's a little groove right in here. The spot where the adjuster goes on the headlight bucket fits in that little groove, and that allows it to spin, and when you go in and out it pulls both ways. So if you're putting these on, you've never done it before, you want to make sure you get that in there. So now that I got that in, I'm going to kind of just visually straighten this headlight out a little bit. That spring pulls it, and that's what keeps your adjustment. You've got an adjuster on the top that does your up and down, an adjuster on the outside that does your in and out. And that spring bites against it, and that's what keeps your adjustment tight. So I guess I'm not getting them perfect right now. I'm just kind of getting them in the general area, and then you can't really adjust them until you got it where you can make it dark and shine them at something and adjust them while they're on. Alright, that one's pretty close. Now we'll find our other one for this side. Do the same thing. This one don't want to go in. There we go. Alright. So we'll do the same thing we did on the bottom one. Kind of roughly adjust this. And then we got our headlights. One of these headlights is a 2-wire plug, so it's low beam only. And the other headlight is a 3-prong plug, low beam and high beam. So I like putting the low beams on the bottom. Doesn't really matter how you do it. It can be on the top, it can be on the bottom. Some people might not agree with me in that opinion, but that's how I feel. Put your ring on, preferably right side up. Put your light in. I'm using brand new hardware on everything. New screws to hold the headlights in, new adjusters, all that stuff. Everything's going to be new. got that one in. Now we'll throw the top one in. I'm really OCD, guys. I always have been. So I always make sure the writing on the headlight is facing the right way, so if you look at it, you can read it. Drives me crazy when I go and look at another truck and it's or car or whatever else, and somebody's just stuck a headlight in there and it's upside down. Not saying there's anything wrong with it, it's just my OCD. I can't stand it. Alright, so we got those headlights in. Once again, they still got to be adjusted, but I got them fairly close. And next thing we're going to do is put the horns in. There's holes here in the core support. This little tab sits up in one so it can't spin, and then a bolt just goes through the other one. Might be putting them in the wrong spot. No. Okay, I'm not sure what happened. These brackets got bent or something, but horns go right up in here, bolt in. So I'm going to go ahead and knock out the lights on the other side, and we'll throw the horns in real quick, and then we'll get on to the next thing. Okay, went ahead and put new light bulbs in our parking turn signal lights, and we got our grille assembly that we cleaned up and made look nice. I'm going to gently set this in here, get our lights put back in. We'll try to get her lined up here. There. This grill's old. It's got a couple tabs broke on it and stuff, but still looks good. We don't have another grill to put in it right now. So I cleaned it up. It's gonna look good. So that's the whole point of it. Okay, I'm going to throw the last 2 screws in this. I'll grab our headlight doors and we'll throw those on. Grill's all installed. Got our headlight doors. Stick them in here. Alright, that's one. Get the other one in, and we'll get to see a huge transformation on this thing. Alright, we got it all put back together. You guys want to see a close-up? Alright, I'll show you a close-up. Okay, grill, headlight doors, headlights, parking lights, horns, all in. Went ahead and through the hood hinges we had painted up back in. Next step is freshen up the interior a little bit. So I've showed you guys before, I've had the carpet laying in here so it can kind of relax and find its home. So right now I'm going to pull the carpet back out, and I got to get the sill plates off, which they look like they're pretty well rusted in there. I got to unbolt the seat belts because they go on top of the carpet, and I'm going to vacuum it up real good and clean it up. So we'll yank this carpet back out, get the vacuum over here, clean it up, and get these door sill plates off, and then we'll get started on putting carpet in. Alright, I got it all vacuumed out. Got the carpet laid in there. This back here will I might have to trim it a little for the wall, but it might lay down. I'm gonna let it sit and see what happens. I got the edges cleaned up as good as I can. They'll probably replace these with some new ones when they get it back, but for right now, it's just there holding the carpet in. I got our dimmer switch all cut out and put in its little grommet that comes with the carpet kit, and got this strip on the other side in too. So the seat belts, I pulled them out right before we did the carpet just now, and they were in really bad shape, so I told them that they're going to order new seat belts, but I'm going to go ahead and finish up without the seat belts because I'll just put the holes in the carpet for the seat belts, and then when they get the seat belts in, they can just go ahead and change them out. So next step's going to be to throw the seat in there. I got a little trick to line up the holes and put the holes in the carpet for the seat bolts. I'll show you that here in a minute when we do that. Sorry, I'm straightening the carpet out. So I'll show you that. We'll throw the seat in, and then all we really got left on the interior is the dash pad. So I'm finishing up for the day, but I'm gonna come back first thing in the morning and we'll start getting the seat and the dash pad in. So here we go. All right, well, the carpet's all laid out and sat there and kind of found its home all night. Now I got my little stabby tool here that I use, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go underneath and go through the holes where the bolts go in and push up and poke through the carpet, and that'll give me my holes where my seat mounts and my seat belt mounts are. And then once I do that, I'll come back up on top and I can take a razor blade and kind of open the holes up a little bit so that the carpet doesn't push down in with the bolts. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick, and then we'll be ready to set the seat in. All right, got a little bit of work done. My son came over to the shop with me this morning to help me put the seat in the truck, and he didn't want to be on YouTube. So I didn't film putting the seat in because he was here helping. And while he was here, I had him go ahead and help me throw the hood back on too, which means we're getting close, which I like. So carpet's all in and done. I've showed you guys the seat before, but here it is in the truck, all nice and pretty. With that carpet and that seat, this thing's really coming together, but it's not done. Next thing we're gonna do is we got a new dash pad. So this is a brand new reproduction. The owner of the truck ordered it. I'm not really sure where they got it from. It's decent quality compared to some that I've used. But you got to take your slide-in tabs off of the old one, transfer them over, and then your fascia panel with your vents in it that goes there, those got to come off of your old one too, unless you order a new panel, which we didn't. So I'm cleaning the old one up and painting it so it looks good. And then we got to put the dash pad in. And then if any of you guys been watching this channel enough to know me, you know I ain't letting this thing leave my shop with this. So we got a stock steering wheel with a decent horn button. That's going in there, and that should really finish it off. And once we get the dash pad in and get the rest of the dash put back together, I'm going to do a little bit cleaning on some of the other stuff that we didn't change out, and that'll be a fairly decent interior for this old truck. Got the front end looking pretty, got the engine compartment looking pretty, and we might do something to the outside. So let me finish painting up those panels. We'll throw that dash pad together, and then we'll get it in the truck and see what we get into next. Getting the dash pad all ready to go in. I went ahead and wiped down the dash, and while I was at it, the trim piece that goes over on that side was really nasty, so I decided to clean it up and paint it. And while I was waiting for the paint to dry, I went ahead and put the bottom piece of the dash back on, and the ashtray was messed up, so we went ahead and fixed that, and I wiped all that down. Not going to worry about a gauge bezel for right now, because the one that was in the truck, they cut it like right here all the way across, so it was 3 pieces, and it was in real bad shape also. So the guy that I'm doing the truck for said that he has another one, so he's going to go ahead and put that in. But also, while I was waiting for paint to dry, I went ahead and took off the door pouches because they were really stretched out and tore up and just kind of looked bad. And same with the lower door cards. They were all, carpet was ripped up and the cards had gotten wet and kind of deteriorated and whatnot. So they can get those recovered or order new ones or whatever and put them back on. But since we're doing all this to the interior, making it look nice, for right now, this looks a lot better. So I took those off, cleaned the door panels the best that I could. I went ahead and cleaned all the door jambs on the door and on the truck side to get those all spruced up looking decent. Both sides, did the same thing on both sides. So now we're going to get back here to the dash pad and get it put together. All right, I think I may have already mentioned this, but I had to take the clips off of the old dash pad and transfer them over to this one because these reproduction pads don't come with them. So I just got to switch them over real quick after I scrape all the excess crap off so they'll actually go in. But these here, this big part of this clip right here is what clips, kind of squeezes in and holds it down to the dash pad when you put it in. This little part of the clip and this little ear right here is what goes in here. So you take that little part of that clip and you push it down in there, and then you just spin it 90 degrees and it locks it in. So I already got this first one in. There's 4 more, so I'll go ahead and throw them in. We only have 3 of them because there was one missing from the other dash and I don't have any other ones. So those 2 over there on the end are really close together. So I'm just going to put the far end one on and leave the other one off. It'll be fine. Okay, got all those in. Now, bring you over here a little bit more. And gotta grab my hardware. Okay, so this is the trim piece off of the old dash. I cleaned it up and painted it. So we're going to go ahead and get this stuck back in here. It's got never seen one with these style clips on here before. Somebody might have just done this at one point or another, but they just take the self-tapping nuts or the slip nuts or whatever you want to call them. So, but I don't have any, and these were on here, so they're going back on. It's just these 2 in the middle. I actually have the speed nuts for the outside. They were on here, so. Alright, and then your AC ducts go on the back of here. And they just slide over the same studs that come through for the trim. I thought. And then we got our Silverado emblem here. It goes through here, like so. You can put this on just on the trim piece before you put it on, but they have a cutout in here so you can take it out. So just doing it all at one time. Let me grab my socket real quick. Tighten these down. All right, I'll teleport you guys over into the truck real quick and we'll get it thrown in. All right, we'll get this in here, set it up. Make sure our slots line up. There we go. All right. That's not down in there. Dash is in. This looks like it's sagging a little bit, but the bezel goes in there and pushes that up and holds it square. So once I get the bezel in, that'll all be okay. So she's done. I said I was done. You guys didn't actually think I'd forget to change that hideous steering wheel, did you? No. Stock steering wheel, well, original steering wheel in the truck. Dash pad, check. Like I said, they're gonna put a gauge bezel in it. Brand new carpet, looking pretty sweet. Newly recovered, refoamed seat. Seat belts. The receptacles for the seat belts were really rusty and nasty looking from sitting on the floor for a while. So I just put the bolts back in, and this seat folds, and it's a slider, and they got a hold of some other blue seat belt receptacles. So when they get the truck back, they can just slide that forward and zap those bolts out and throw the receptacles in. But if you go back and watch the introduction to Dirty video and see what this thing looked like and see what it looks like now, I'd call it a huge improvement. Really happy with it. You guys have seen under the hood probably 300 times now. It's pretty much all buttoned up. I don't like letting it run inside a lot because it fumes out so bad with no ventilation in here, so I want to take it outside and let it run for a while and get up to operating temp and all that stuff. But pretty much everything's buttoned up. Once it gets warm, operating temp, then I'll fine tune the timing and take it for a test drive. But man, she's looking good. That grille is just, I'm really happy with how this thing's turning out. Then you got all this crap here. But there's a good chance you'll get to see something happen with that too on the next video. Next video, I think, is going to be my favorite one, because we're going to make the outside of this truck look as good as it can look in its current condition. I mean, the body's straight, little to no rust on it, except for surface rust. There's some paint chips and some fading, but I'm going to show you what we're going to do, and we're going to make this thing a sweet patina truck. So, but that's about going to do it for this video. I mean, we got quite a bit done in this video as far as wrapping this truck up, and I'm pretty excited about getting her done and getting her home. So if you want to see this thing looking sweet driving up and down the street, hit the subscribe button so you can check out the next video, because it will be looking sweet driving down the street. So that being said, I'm going to end it here. So y'all have a good one, and we'll see you next time.